I have a performance-based business model. Let me just warn you guys, there are incredible pros and incredible cons. If you have a performance-based business model and you perform, you will make a ridiculous amount of money. Obviously, you are taking the risk. I take the risk with my clients, saying I'm gonna put all my time, this effort, I'm gonna put up a lot of capital, and I'm not gonna make any money until you make money. That's an incredible business model on paper. The problem arises with keeping other people honest. When you have one or two clients and you are incredibly good relationships with those clients, it is very easy to say, oh, okay, boom, closed a client was for $100,000, you get 20%, that's for $20,000. Easy model, much harder at scale. Now we're taking on potentially a client a month. Eventually, I'll be taking on clients that I don't know the people very well. It'll be very easy where it's kind of their word. Oh, we closed a client, but they refunded. If we don't have access into their backend system, into their Stripe account, into showing we closed $175,000 of revenue this month. Oh yeah, Josh, but 50% of those actually refunded, so that means it was really only $75,000. That's one example of a way you could get screwed over. Two, they could just not pay. Right now I'm having some issues. Currently, June 17th, 5 of my clients have not yet paid for this month. Who does that impact? It doesn't impact my clients, it impacts me. I already paid out all my payroll. I'm looking at that future income that should already be in my bank account to think, how can we expand the business? What can I do to grow? That growth is stunted because I don't have any of that money yet. Like literally nothing. That's just a massive swift kick in the nut. Someone could say, oh, Josh, this is all your fault. So how can you solve this? Because I do have one client just has not paid for the past 3 months because they're going through some stuff. The way that I plan on solving for it is, one, we have multiple ways where I have a performance-based model. One is on getting them sales, and then the other is on getting the client sponsorships. The only way that this works is if you're taking withhold of the funds, where you control the platform they're making money on. The real baller move, in my opinion, if you have a performance-based model, is you have some sort of performance type where you take hold of the income and then you pay out the client. If you say, hey, to the client, we get a 20% performance model. If $100,000 of profit come in, you get 80,000, we get 20,000. That's all I want. We just made $100,000. Ideally, it is you that is taking delivery and then you pay out the client, because it is very, 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 very challenging to pay out or to keep dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of clients, keeping them honest once you start to scale. And especially when the numbers get very, very large. Everyone says that they want to have a performance-based model. The problem is a lot of business owners will say, dude, I'm paying you fucking $75,000 per month. That's 20% of what you made them, and then it's really not that much money in relativeness. It just seems like a ridiculous amount of money. That's some of the problems that I foresee coming up down the pipeline. I'm having that problem at a very small scale right now, but one thing that I always continuously learn is anything that is a small problem today will just become a large issue in the future. So it is best to try and fix these small issues, especially because I know someone that this happened to. He had a performance-based business model where they were doing probably $25 million per year. He got completely crushed just by logistically getting fucking payment done. And I was just talking to him about this, and he said, dude, you need to find a way to control the funds. How can I actually do that? Because I'm not going to be controlling the funds when we get a client and we close business for them. That's going to be very challenging. But I will take portion of the sponsorship revenue that we generate. So let's say I close a sponsorship for one of my clients for $25,000 per month. My client gets anywhere from 50 to 80% of that, depending upon the client. Ideally, I take the $25,000, and then after I get paid, I then send them 80% or the 20% or the 50%, whatever our agreed upon rate is. And it's different for each client depending on how much I'm doing for them and what the fees are. Just every single client I have a different payment structure with, which is again going to be cumbersome in the future because I spend so much of my time on bookkeeping and fucking just doing shit that sucks, dude. It sucks. And I was just talking to a friend of mine, Travis, who he has one of the largest alcohol companies. He sold that. Now he owns Amazon warehouses where he does exceptionally well. And then he just puts all of his money into real estate. He just bought like a 300 unit building in the Midwest, and he's doing that like every single month or quarter. It's ridiculous. He's doing awesome. And he was telling me that, Josh, these problems that you're having, you need better bookkeeping, you need better legal, you need better accounting in place. He said, you're the entrepreneur. You do not and should not be spending your time on fucking bookkeeping. He said, you're being a dummy, dude. He said, let me hook you up. And so he said, I'm going to contact you with the company that does my bookkeeping. And so hopefully I can sort this issue out, and I'm not just just figuring out how to send out payroll, because if I'm sending out right now on my PayPal and Venmo and Stripe and a variety of different accounts, which is going to end up fucking everyone over for taxes, mainly me having to track it all. I'm just being an idiot, which every large business has fixed and solved for this stuff. But when you're just starting out in business, things as simple as bookkeeping and making sure that you keep good receipts of an account, and then getting proper forms and legal in place. Let's just say sending all your employees a W-2 or 1099, depending on how it's structured, and then getting the legal entity structure with the clients is challenging. This stuff is just brain dead stuff that needs to get done, that leads to me avoiding it, which I don't like doing. I don't like doing this shit, which is why I avoid it. I'm stressing right now. So going back to the performance-based model, I would actually recommend, if you want to make a ton of money with a business, it makes a lot of sense. If you have an incredible service or product, it makes sense to do a performance-based model. It's just thinking through how you can kind of fix these things at scale. And you could say, well, Josh, you can just have a contract in place. That really only works with large businesses because they have too much to lose. A lot of medium-sized businesses, they do not have the incentive to tell the truth. They do not have the incentive to be accurate in their reporting. That's really the issue. You live and you learn. Hopefully you're partnering up with incredible clients. This is just more of an issue once you really start to scale, which I'm not there yet. I just am having small problems around this, around the edges, which suck. Everything sucks.